Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtike. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This morning we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 41. Nantam vidami aham ami munayo agrajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto avaraye gayan gunan dasha shattanana adi devaha shesho adhunapi samasvayati nasya param. Neither I nor the sages before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So, what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Shesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces. The purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The omnipotent personality of Godhead has three primary potencies, namely the internal, external, and marginal potencies, with unlimited expansions of these three energies. As such, the expansions of his potencies can never be calculated by anyone because even the personality of God himself, as the incarnation of Shesha, cannot estimate the potencies, although he has been describing them continuously with his 1,000 faces. So Brahmaji is telling Narad Muni that I can't understand totally Krishna. I cannot know Krishna in full because Krishna is unlimited. So I can't know him, nor can you know him. Now, what to speak about us? Sheshnag, who's the first expansion of Krishna, Balaramji, he has 1,000 hoods where he's holding all the universes. And on these hoods, all these universes are like mustard seeds, tiny, tiny mustard seeds on his hoods. And he's dancing and he's in ecstasy speaking the glories of Krishna. Now he has started speaking the glories of Krishna since eternality. But till now, he's not able to reach the limit of the glories of Krishna. And then here again, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna's he has many energies, but his prime energies are divided. All these energies are mainly divided into internal, external, and marginal. Internal is his spiritual energy, external is his material energy, and marginal energy is we, the jivas. So reading on text 42, Yesham sa esha bhagavan dadayet anantaha sarvat mana shrita pado yadi nirvayalikam te dushtaram atitaranti cha deva mayam nesham mamaham iti dihi swasragala bhakshaye. But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. So the unalloyed devotees of the Lord know the glories of the Lord in the sense that they can understand how great the Lord is and how great is his expansion of diverse energy. Devotees, they know that Krishna is unlimited. So he has unlimited pastimes, unlimited qualities. They can understand that he is unlimited. That's the glory of the devotee, because he is devoted to Krishna. He's understanding him from a devotion point of view, with love. So those who are attached to this perishable body can hardly enter into the realm of the science of God. The whole materialistic world, based on the conception of the material body as the self, is ignorant of the science of God. So we are so attached to the body, and then we think we are the body. And then because we think we are the body, we think we are the controller, the enjoyer, and the owner. And in that way, we disregard God. Or even if we know that there is some God, we are not able to understand what his true position is and what our true position is because we are thinking we are the controller and the enjoyer. So in that way, we can never know truly the glories of Krishna. The materialist is always busy working for the welfare of the material body, not only his own, but also those of his children, kinsmen, community men, countrymen, etc. The materialists have many branches of philanthropic and altruistic activities from a political, national, and international angle of vision. But none of the field work can go beyond the jurisdiction of the misconception of identifying the material body with the spirit soul. Unless, therefore, one is saved from the wrong conception of the body and the soul, there is no knowledge of Godhead. And unless there is knowledge of God, all advancement of material civilization, however dazzling, should be considered a failure. So because if we just base our whole understanding that I'm this body, and so all our energy is going in that way, then we feel there is no need of God because I'm doing whatever I can. I'm the controller. So I will do whatever is in my power. So I will not take the effort to find out who is God actually. Oh, there is really somebody more powerful than me. Let me try to find out who that person is, you know. So once we try to understand this knowledge which Krishna is giving us in Bhagavad Gita, and his devotees are telling us that once we try to understand that I'm not this body, I'm a tiny, tiny soul, then we try to understand, oh, really, I'm a tiny soul, so I'm not God. Oh, so there's somebody who's greater than me. Oh, there is God. Let me try to find out in truth then, who is that God? Otherwise, we just block ourselves if we think we are the body and there is no God, and then we think we are God, you know. I mean, in truth, without trying to understand in truth who is God. Because we might say, oh yes, I'm very pious, I'm very spiritual, I do so much puja and I do so many yantra and tantra, and I believe I worship so many different demigods. But in that position, we are not trying to understand the truth. But if we sincerely, humbly try to understand that I'm actually a tiny spirit soul, so then I'm a tiny spirit soul, so I'm not the controller. So there is some controller. Let me try to find out about him. Then slowly, slowly we can, as we get more interested to search out Krishna, then Krishna reveals himself. Otherwise, he remains covered. So text 43 to 45.
He remains covered by false ego.
I'm sorry?
He remains covered by false ego.
Yeah,
false.
like, yeah, our false ego that we don't want to find.
Yeah, and then we think that we are doing, we are doing this, we are doing that. Everything is controlled by us.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, right. And one more thing I wanted to check. You were saying the first expansion of the Lord is Shesha, but it's Mahavishnu and Shesha, right? Together they came. Sheshana.
So actually the first expansion of Krishna is Lord Balaram.
Okay, it's not Mahavishnu. I
No.
thought like Mahavishnu was sleeping, right? Sitting on the Shesha.
Yeah. So Mahavishnu comes much later. First,
Later.
very first expansion is Balaramji.
Balram. Okay.
And the Sheshnag is an expansion of Balaram.
Balram.
Yeah.
And then Mahavishnu. Huh?
Then, so first Balaramji. Then Balaramji expands into 4 Chaturvyuha. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Anirudh, and Pradyumna. These are called the Chaturvyuha. Then these Chaturvyuha again expand into the second Chaturvyuha. Again, Vasudev, Shankarshan, Anirudh, and Pradyumna. Then from this expansion comes Mahavishnu. Yeah.
If you want, I can share a video with you. It is Prabhu from India. He's explaining it, and there's a diagram. He's drawing the diagram. So I think if you really want to understand this, I think he's explained it in quite detail.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I can
please.
share it with you, and
Yeah,
you can watch it. Amog Leela Prabhu has done it. So I'll share it if you are interested in it.
Yeah,
I'll share it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe you can put it on our reading group also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Vedaham anga paramasya hi yogamayam yuyam bhavascha bhagavan atha daitya varayah patni manoha sacha manushcha tad atmajascha prachina barhir ribhur anga utadhruvascha ikshvakur aila muchukunda videhagadhihi Raghav Ambarisha Sagara Gaya Na Husadayah Mandhatar Alarka Shatadhanva Anuranti Deva Deva Vrato Balir Amur Tarayo Dilipaha Sobhari Utanka Shibi Devala Pipalada sarasvato dhava parasara bhurishineha ye anye vibhishana hanumad upendra datta partha sarthi shena vidura shrutadeva varyaha. O Narad, although the potencies of the Lord are unknowable and immeasurable, still, because we are all surrendered souls, we know how he acts through Yogamaya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to the all-powerful Shiva, the great king of the atheist family, namely Prahlad Maharaj, Swayambhuva Manu, his wife Shatarupa, his sons and daughters like Priyavrata, Uttanpada, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prashuti, Prachina Barhi, Ribhu, Anga, the father of Vena, Maharaj Dhruva, Ikshvaku, Aila, Muchukunda, Maharaj Janak, Gadhi, Raghu, Ambarish, Sagar, Gaya, Nahusha, Mandhata, Alarka, Shatadhanve, Anu, Rantideva, Bhishma, Bali, Amrutaraya, Dilipa, Saubhari, Utanka, Shibi, Devala, Pipalada, Sarasvata, Uddhav, Parasara, Bhurishena, Vibhishan, Hanuman, Sukadev Goswami, Arjuna, Arishtisena, Vidur, Shrutadeva, etc. So here Brahmaji is mentioning a few of the devotees who know Krishna, who know something about Krishna. All the great devotees of the Lord, as mentioned above, who flourished in the past or present, and all devotees of the Lord who will come in the future, are aware of the different potencies of the Lord, along with the potency of his name, quality, pastimes, entourage, personality, etc. And how do they know? Certainly, it is not by mental speculation or by any attempt by dint of limited instruments of knowledge. So these devotees, it's not that they say, oh, I think God looks like this. Oh, I think God must be doing this. Oh, I think God is this one and that one. It's not that they are saying, it's not that whatever they think and they assume. No, it's not that. By limited instruments of knowledge, either the senses or the material instruments like microscopes and telescopes, one cannot even fully know the Lord's material potencies, which are manifested before our eyes. So Prabhupada is saying it's not also they know God because of their eyes, oh, I'm seeing, or because senses are also, we can commit mistakes, no? Our senses are not perfect. Or we have some microscope or telescope, and with that we are trying to look for God. For example, there are many millions and billions of planets, far, far beyond the scientist's calculation. But these are only the manifestations of the Lord's material energy. What can the scientist hope to know of the spiritual potency of the Lord by such material efforts? So the scientists, they are trying to understand the length and breadth of this universe. They still don't know. They don't have the full information about this universe. So how can they have information about the spiritual world? So which goes to show that, but by our own endeavor, by trying to disregard God totally and say, I'm going to find God and I'm going to work and see how, well, the materialists are not even trying to find God, you know. They are trying to understand this material creation without God. And so that's why they are not able to understand it properly. Mental speculations, by adding some dozens of ifs and maybes, cannot aid the advancement of knowledge. On the contrary, such mental speculations will only end in despair by dismissing the case abruptly and declaring the non-existence of God. So you see, we can't even say, oh, maybe it's like that. You know, oh, maybe God is like this. Maybe the spiritual world is like that. Maybe there are many universes or planets. Maybe this can happen. Maybe, you know. So, but then that's not knowledge. Like this, we are going to drive ourselves crazy and everyone else and not come to any conclusion. The sane person, therefore, ceases to speculate on subjects beyond the jurisdiction of his tiny brain, and as a matter of course, he tries to learn to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, who alone can lead one to the platform of real knowledge. So if we just stop thinking with our mind, oh, I'm going to try to, you know, maybe this one is God and maybe this person is God, or maybe this thing is God. If we just surrender, my dear God, I don't know you. Can I please get to know you? How can I come to know you? I would really like to know you. Then Krishna will make arrangements. God will make arrangements for us to get to know him. He's our well-wisher after all. He's in our heart. So he knows our sincere desire. If we really want to know him, he will make the arrangements. He will connect us with the devotees so we can know him. In the Upanishads, it is clearly said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can never be known simply by working very hard and taxing the good brain, nor can he be known simply by mental speculation and jugglery of words. So we see that some people, they claim to know God, they claim to be spiritualists, but they're just very good speakers. They know how to manipulate the words, but without reaching to any firm conclusion. This is God, this is his name, this is how he looks like, this is his address, this is how you can go there. No, they just bewilder us in their talks and words. But like that, we can never know the truth. So the Lord is knowable only by one who is a surrendered soul. Herein, Brahmaji, the greatest of all material living beings, acknowledges this truth. Therefore, the fruitless spoiling of energy by pursuing the path of experimental knowledge must be given up. One should gain knowledge by surrendering unto the Lord and by acknowledging the authority of the persons mentioned herein. The Lord is unlimited, and by the grace of Yogamaya, helps the surrendered soul to know him proportionately with the advance of one's surrender. So the more we surrender, the more we want to get to know Krishna, the more we want to get to know God, the more he will reveal himself, the more we will understand him. Now Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he tells to Arjuna, you surrender unto me and then you will know me. Right? So Krishna first demands surrender, that you first surrender. Here also Prabhupada is saying, first we surrender to Krishna and then he will reveal. But Krishna, he was thinking, now in Kali Yuga, the people are so degraded, they're not going to surrender, you know, because we are really very degraded. We have no qualification and we are so envious. We think we are really great, but actually we are not. So he was thinking, what's going to happen to these poor souls of Kali Yuga? How are they going to actually know me? Because nobody is going to surrender to me. That's the reason he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most munificent, most merciful form of the Lord, where he is come, he is Krishna himself, but he is in the mood of Radharani. And so he's full of compassion, full of compassion. He says, just start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. You don't want to surrender first? Don't surrender. Just start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and everything will follow. You will get the highest platform of love of Krishna just by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So that is the special contribution of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we should try to take advantage of this, because otherwise to get to know Krishna is very, very difficult. It's not easy to know Krishna. It's very difficult. But if we follow what Lord Chaitanya is saying, it becomes very easy. Just by chanting and dancing and hearing Bhagavatam, we can know Krishna and go back to Godhead. Any questions or comments?
No, all is good.
Okay. So text 46. Devai Vedanti Atiranti Cha Devamayam Stri Shudra Hona Shabara Api Papa Jivaha Yadi Adbhuta Krama Parayana Shila Shikshas Triyak Jana Api Kim Ushruta Dharanaye. Surrendered souls, even from the groups leading sinful lives, such as women, the laborer class, the mountaineers, and the Siberians, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the science of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of the illusory energy by surrendering unto the pure devotees of the Lord and by following in their footsteps in devotional service. Sometimes there are inquiries as how one can surrender to the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.66, the Lord asked Arjuna to surrender unto him, and therefore persons unwilling to do so question where God is and to whom they should surrender. The answer to such questions or inquiries is given herein very properly. The personality of Godhead may not be present before one's eyes, but if one is sincere in wanting such guidance, the Lord will send a bona fide person who can guide one properly back home, back to Godhead. There is no need of material qualifications for making progress on the path of spiritual realization. So we just need our sincerity. How much do we actually want to know the truth? How much do we actually want to know who is God? And Krishna arranges, he sends his devotees. It's true, I've had experience of this, not to say that I'm sincere, but to say that Krishna actually sends his devotees. And because of his devotees' mercy that we are able to be here, it's all because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy that we are here now trying to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. And the followers of Srila Prabhupada, they are the ones who are carrying on the movement and, trying their best to give us Krishna. There is no need of material qualifications for making progress on the path of spiritual realization. So we can't say, oh, I'm a householder, I'm a businessman, I'm a doctor, I'm a student, or I'm a woman, I'm a man, no. There's no material qualification. The only thing is we need a desire. We should just have a desire. Otherwise, nothing else is a barrier. Nothing material can stop our sincerity, our sincere inquiry to know about God and our devotional service to God. So, in the material world, when one accepts some particular type of service, he is required to possess some particular type of qualification also. Without this, one is unfit for such service. But in the devotional service of the Lord, the only qualification required is surrender. Surrendering oneself is in one's own hand. If one likes, he can surrender immediately, without delay, and that begins his spiritual life. So we know if we want to do anything in the material world, we want to apply for a job, they'll say what qualification you have. We want to go to a university, they'll say, did you pass your high school? Or anything we need qualification in the material world. But in the spiritual world, we just have to have that desire. I want to, please, my dear Lord, I would like to get to know you. Just this sincere desire. And our surrender process in this Kali Yuga begins when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We just have to somehow or the other chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And that begins our surrendering process. So surrendering oneself is in one's own hand. If one likes, he can surrender immediately without delay, and that begins his spiritual life. The bona fide representative of God is as good as God himself. Or in other words, the loving representative of the Lord, is more kind and more easy to approach. A sinful soul cannot approach the Lord directly, but such a sinful man can very easily approach a pure devotee of the Lord. And if one agrees to put himself under the guidance of such a devotee of the Lord, he can also understand the science of God and can also become like the transcendental pure devotee of the Lord, and thus get his liberation back to home, back to Godhead, back home for eternal happiness. So we just have to approach a pure devotee, a bona fide representative, and then they will train us in the science of Bhakti Yoga. And we can go back home, back to Godhead. Because we cannot directly approach Krishna, we can't, we don't know him. If we don't know him, how can we directly approach him? If we don't know how he likes, what he doesn't like, what he likes, we will not act in that way. But because the pure devotee, they know what Krishna likes, what he doesn't like, and how to please him. Why? Because they have been trained by devotees who know Krishna. So same way, if we want to get to know Krishna, we want to love Krishna, we need to approach a devotee and get training from them. So realization of the science of Godhead and relief from the unnecessary, useless struggle for existence are not at all difficult for the willing candidate, but they are very difficult for persons who are not surrendered souls, but only simple, profitless speculators. So it depends on us. Do we actually want to understand ourselves? Do we actually want to know God? If we want to, then the process becomes simple. But if we don't want to, then it's very difficult. Is that okay?
Very nice. Clearly
Yeah.
explained.
Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah.
So let's stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta.
Jai.
Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you for joining in and have a good